I tell you what, Leo and I had the best lesson that we could have asked for the other day. So we've been playing around a lot with Bridleless collection, getting higher levels in our riding. And one of the biggest things that we hear all of the time, whether it's to our face or social media, is that you cannot get high level horsemanship maneuvers bridleless. And I've always thought that that concept was totally wrong, because I see it every single day with each of the horses that I work with bridleless, is that high level maneuvers can be accomplished whether you have a bridle, a snaffle, or in a neck rope. Because at the end of the day, we're just asking our horses to use their body in a way that helps them become more athletic, and it strengthens them throughout the whole journey.
Then I have a general question, because you're the first one that I teach bridleless.
Yes.
Why bridleless, and what is it that you want to accomplish, and what is it that you're trying to do?
So we teach bridleless and liberty is what we do as a living.
Yeah.
And basically what we're trying to do is make sure that we can do the same thing that you can bridleless with a bridle. And we want to correct movements. So even though we don't have a bridle on, we want to still show that it's possible to get to reach some of the highest levels with just a neck rope or nothing on their head. So.
Yeah, I agree. You can do that because the neck rope is a form of resistance.
Yes.
So, and you need a form of resistance, otherwise you cannot create a collection.
Yes.
Yeah, you can create a collection through movements and through other exercises, a natural collection,
yeah,
but not the ultimatum when you have a bit in.
Exactly. Yep.
So
one of the first things that Barron and I talked about was, and the first question that I actually asked him was, is getting collection bridleless possible? And he's a very high level respected dressage rider and coach. And he said, looked at me dead in the eye and said, absolutely. All you need is a form of resistance, and the neck rope is that form. And I just had a big smile on my face, because that was the first high level professional that told me it was possible. And we just had a great session after that.
So what would you like to gain most out of this?
I would like for you to just watch how we ride and say, how can we develop the strength and how can we develop the connection with proper dressage movements? Because again, he feels good. I feel like I can get some suppleness, but it's like I want the full body.
Yeah.
And I want to just have someone that's way more knowledgeable than I am about correct movements tell me, are we on the right track? Where can we go? And just come up with maybe a strategy.
Give me a perfect, give me enough information.
Yeah.
So what I would like to see first is how you warm up. So I'm giving you about 10 minutes.
Okay.
To a little bit walk, trot, and canter.
Okay.
So that I get a feel a little bit where you are with your horse and what you're doing and how you proceed everything, or how your thinking is, that you warm a horse up and that I get an idea of what direction you're going to.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a little talk together, and then we'll pitch in.
Perfect. So one of the first things that Barron had me do was just go and ride Leo. And this was the first time I met him. I heard a lot of great things, but I was like, I'm just going to go out and ride around. So I didn't really know what I was doing, but I did a little bit of walk, trot, canter, little lateral movements, getting the little haunches moving, the shoulder soft. And within a couple minutes, he said, hey, come on back over here. And he just gave me a couple compliments. And he said, that is phenomenal. He said, I definitely wasn't expecting that. And you have a lot of good body control through what you've done and taught your horse. But let's get started with the lesson so that I can help you take that to the next level. And from that moment, I was like, I felt just this sense of gratification that we're on the right track, but we still have a long way to go, and we were in the right place.
So can you create a bend to the left and move your horse in its hole over towards me? Wow, I'm impressed. All righty, walk for a moment. I'm actually super impressed what you have done.
Thank you.
So, talking about dressage, a little bit of a foundation, because what you're doing is actually super good. I really like what I see, and I'm quite impressed how you can develop a bend without actually a snaffle in. So how you have managed that, I'm interested even to learn that as well. So that's really nice. I see that. But now in the dressage world where I'm in, you have slightly different horses, as you know. There is a purpose of developing in the dressage horse. There's a reason why we're doing certain things. And that's a question to you. What do you think that the purpose is of the dressage? What do we want to accomplish?
I think dressage is developing proper movements with body function to strengthen them the best that we can. Yeah,
it's actually enhancing their natural ability, and we're trying to make the movement more elegant, their natural movement more elegant, more suspension, that it looks more bouncy or more dancing-like. Yeah. So, in order to do that, the hind, and you already know these things quite well, but I'm just going over it because we don't know each other. The hind leg has to be engaged in such a way that the horse's front end can lift. Now, what I see, what you have done in your basics is superb in your bending, the going forwards in principle towards your hand. If this was a bridle, you had them nicely going forwards towards your hand. That is all nice and well. Now you need to figure out if you wanted to, say, example, train horses up to a Grand Prix level, which is actually possible on what I see, what you're doing. The horse has to learn to sit more down and not just learning a trick, but also be able to say, okay, how can I make him sit down and how can I lift him up? So that is what I would like to see, how you're going to address that. So my question is, how can we engage that, and how can we make him understand that right now he's going towards a relaxing stage? He's still technically on the bit because I see him rounding, yeah, but he's not yet in the optimal carriage.
Yep.
So how would you address that? I want to pick your brain for a second.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing that I think that we need to teach him just to come underneath his hindquarters a little bit more. And I, again, do that usually through backing him up and getting him soft and going forward through it. But I'm here to figure out the proper way to do it because we've just been playing with it and we don't really.
So rein back is an exercise, yes, that can make a horse sit down, but it can also make a horse push out, depending on how the rein back is done.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely correct. There are movements like what I see when you started it, and you actually, when you first started off, you're testing him a little bit. Is he there with me? Is he not there with me? Then you started to finally go a little bit more forwards.
Yes.
You need that forwardsness, because if you don't have that forwardsness, you're not going to be able to bring that hind leg under.
Yep.
Not in a way what we want in our world. And if you're thinking in the future for training him up to Grand Prix, I need that momentum way more.
Okay.
So that is one thing. Then
I'm a big believer in pushing yourself and your horse outside of their comfort zone and to develop your skills and to develop your boundaries as a person. And taking a dressage lesson from a high-level dressage instructor was definitely out of my comfort zone. And I don't know, I wouldn't say nervous was probably the word that I felt, but I felt butterflies in my stomach and I felt a lot of anticipation, like what is this gonna be like? Is this something that they are gonna judge me for what I'm doing? Because he said it was the first bridleless lesson that he's given. And for me, I was like, well, I hope that I'm not just out here going to embarrass myself with what we've been doing, because everything that we've been doing with Leo and I has really been self-taught, and we've been basing it off of how to get collection, how to get softness from a bridle that I learned before, but into that neck rope. And it was really fun, because as soon as that lesson started, as soon as I started talking to him, he was very open, he was very honest, and incredibly knowledgeable.
I want you to go on a straight line, just following the arena, but make not the arena so large as this whole arena is. Make a little bit more like a 20 by 60 meters. What I would like to see is a 10-meter circle going into the railing. Say, example, if you're here by this railing, that you make a 10-meter circle going into the railing. Can you make a walk transition? About 3 or 4 steps, go back to your trot. The natural 10-meter circle should naturally learn them to collect, but collect does not mean slowing down necessarily, yeah? So you have to feel the horse may shift back, but not necessarily just slowing down without losing the impulsion.
Yep.
If you lose impulsion, you're not going to get them to lift.
Yep. Okay.
There. So make a 10-meter circle right there. Try to get the left flexion, if you can, on that 10-meter circle. Now go to a walk fluently, but straight ahead. There. About 4 steps. Trot on. Follow the arena. Straight. And then important is that goes straight. That's super important.
Yep.
Yeah, make a 10-meter circle again. Absolutely. Find the rhythm. Yes. So you there, he struggles indeed with a little bit on that bend. Yeah?
Yeah.
Walk, no problem. 1, 2, 3, 4. Trot on. Forwards. Little straighter. There you go. Super. And it's interesting when you make the circles, he definitely pick himself up. So make a 10-meter circle. Keep your same rhythm that you had on the straightaway. Keep that and canter on. Straight ahead. Good. Then make another 10-meter circle. Good. Good. Try to sit a little bit taller over in the center. Trot. Oh, right foot. There you go. Right forwards. So there's moments that he picks himself up.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is because of the resistance of the neck, the rope, but he is definitely picking himself up at times. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to really key into that, how he is going to stay there in the future.
Yeah.
So what he has to then learn in the future to bring almost his nose a little bit out.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the dressage world right now, we would in a test say that he is behind the vertical.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would mark down tremendously. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a test. That's not acceptable. Plus, if you do that, it also restricts the shoulders from coming up and out.
Yeah.
And that hind leg has then less room to move forwards where we want to develop it. Now, it will make still a longer stride, but in a different way. Yeah, not in the development that we want to go.
One of the most common things that we hear is having your horse behind the vertical, right? And to me, we don't have a bridle on. So our horse is trying to find the proper movements within his own gaits. And Baron brought that comment up. He says you don't want your horse behind the vertical, and that we have to help them get forward first so that they can almost keep their head and nose a little bit in front of the vertical, so that when they bring their body up, it'll naturally bring their nose and their head and neck in the proper position. But at the end of the day, we understand that we're on the right track, because whether they're in front of the vertical or behind the vertical, as long as we're trying to help our horses get relaxed and use their body properly, eventually they're going to be putting their body in the proper position on their own. But it's our job to help them engage their body and their mind so that they can get the proper positioning. And I really relate this to a workout, right? I've been big into workouts my whole life, and people say, oh, that person isn't doing the form as well as they should. Well, because A, it's probably too much weight, okay, for that person. So it's one of those things is that it takes time to develop proper strength and proper form, okay, to get these things. And the same thing goes with your horse. So the more time, the more energy, the more effort we put into it with the knowledge that we're learning, the better shape and position our horses will be in, and they'll be better for it.
Yeah, so make a 10-meter circle again. This is nice, the way how you entered. I like that. Good, and this is how fluent he should go into the walk. There, but straight. And trot on. Yes. See, and I see already little glimpses. It is not a lot, but I see very little glimpses that he's capable of lifting more. But that's going to be a long haul for a moment. Yeah, it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah. So even in the first exercise that he had me do, I was like, man, I'm already pushing Leo and myself past the comfort zone that we do at home. And it was a very simple exercise. Trot a circle, walk out of it. And I could just feel from the moment that we started trotting, that you could see in the video a little bit, is that Leo was really bracing against his ribs. So I'd worked a lot on getting his shoulder, really a lot on getting his hips, but I didn't focus enough on getting his rib cage soft. And as soon as we started to get that softness, his upward transitions got softer, his downward transitions got softer, and he started to get more flexion and bend properly through his head and neck because his body got softer. But it's just such a simple exercise, really tells you where your horse is in giving certain aspects of their body.
Yep. Shoulder in.
Yep.
Then you come on the diagonal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, straight. Another shoulder in. Walk back to a trot.
Shoulder in, straight. Got it. Okay.
Not easy.
Well, we'll try it.
Good enough. Yeah, good. Now a little diagonal. Yes. And you can then in the future add a second shoulder in, yeah? But yeah, absolutely.
And then drive forward.
Yeah. That's hard. No problem, but you understand completely.
Yes.
So now you are giving you exercises for the future what might help you. Yeah. So you have to be, your bending lines are fine, but in a dressage horse, what we're looking for is straightness. If you have straightness, you have always the bend.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't have the straightness, it's impossible to bend.
Yeah. Probably the hardest exercise that he had Leo and I do was this shoulder in to then trotting out straight out of it on a different line. And for me, it was one of those things that I had done shoulder in quite a bit, but I had never asked for the refinement after and get the straightness after the shoulder in like he was asking us to do. So it was very challenging because Leo would get some nice shoulder in and then he would get sticky moving his feet forward out of it. And he just wanted to keep bending instead of softening through the body. And I tell our students all the time that straightness and forward are key, but once you start getting more into the higher level movements, them going to bending, getting soft in their body and engaging your core, then riding forward is a very difficult thing. And to me, it was something like, wow, that's a hole or an area that we need to strengthen so that we can take things to the next level.
In your half pass, I saw the bend, but he needs to learn to come also more around, not only in the neck, but also in its body. Yeah?
Yeah.
So that is another thing that he has to learn. Another exercise which will be good for you is to work on a spiral on a circle. So if you make a 20-meter circle in a trot and you spiral in, then you should feel the natural collection onto the 10-meter circle When you go back out, you can teach them to yield out, but it has to be consistent. But then you have to learn to enlarge the stride back forwards. We can. So I want a true flexion there, like that. That is beautifully done. So you want to try to see if you can keep that flexion going into a smaller circle. Super. Not more. That's almost too small. There. And now when you go back out systematically, I want the stride to enlarge each time that you go further out. Keep enlarging. Keep enlarging. Absolutely. Now that's beautifully written. Now bring him back to the inside. And he may naturally come back to you, but you may not lose your activity. That's the whole challenge. So later on, if you ever teach this horse to pee off, he needs to learn to activate under himself, yeah? He needs to come back, but you cannot lose the energy. Keep coming. Keep coming. There, beautiful. Beautiful. Now go back out and engage him forwards. Increase the stride. Increase the stride. Keep coming. Yeah. So you're a little more in the league on this one, more so than your shoulder ends. Yeah? So I was a little bit further ahead of you on the shoulder ends, but I do want you to think about in the future to actually introduce that type of exercise.
Okay.
And I would definitely use this as well.
Okay.
Yeah? Yes. Well done. Super. Super. Now can you bring the shoulders a little further in for your feeling? As if you want to turn them around to hunches. Enough, perfect. Now come back out, but make the stride bigger. But in a spiral out. See, you rode them straight out.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of the exercise is to stay turning. While you're turning, you will get a better hind leg. Yeah? If you take him straight out, I lost the concept of my exercise. So, like right here, it looks like he's attached on the lunge line.
Yep.
And he's turning towards the person. Now, when you go out, keep him turning with his forehand inwards while he's going out. Maybe that's better explained. Keep turning. Yes. Keep turning around. That's the hard part. See, and he struggles there.
Yeah.
You feel? But that is what you need to reteach.
Yeah.
Because that is something, if you would do that in the real dressage world with another horse, that's where I run again. Then you're contradicting your movements. Yeah, you're not building up your collection anymore. You just take everything away.
Yeah. As soon as I started spiraling out, his flexion left and he started bracing in that rib cage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what you need to work on.
We can do that. That was fun. And then the last exercise that we had to do was this spiral exercise. First at the trot, then at the canter, where we would spiral in, make a small circle while keeping the same bend, and then spiral out into a larger circle without going from a smaller circle directly into a bigger circle. It was a spiral, a small circle, and then keep spiraling and getting it bigger and bigger and bigger, while maintaining that same bend, maintaining that same feel, and engaging his whole body. And by the end of it, he felt just phenomenally. And he's never felt better. And I really didn't even do that much with my body, but it was just repeating over and over and over to Leo. Said, hey, engage yourself, stay soft, keep engaging, come on, buddy. And I was almost felt like a coach during that whole thing, is that he was working so hard, I was working so hard, and like, we're gonna get this together. And the more that he freed his feet and the more that he got relaxed into it, he started to come up within himself, and it just felt so soft and so good, and it just looked beautifully. And after, I just was so happy, and I had a big smile on my face, because I said, wow, just these simple techniques and these simple exercises can help us with the foundation that we already started to grow to the next level and help Leo get that softness, which will ultimately help him feel better in all that he's doing with his body.
It is fun.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised how much I can actually help you on that. I'm actually surprised. I was more like a challenge to me.
Yeah.
But I was very surprised on that how good you actually also have him in there.
Yeah.
You have really the basics. I mean, yes, your horse. I mean, and don't mind me saying this out loud. I'm being realistic. I mean, your horse is limited in its for the real dressage world.
Agreed.
But what you have done is a really compliment. I mean, I think you've done a fantastic job.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah. So that was fantastic. He just felt better. Like he felt the best on that circle, even that tighter than he's ever felt, because he just started getting softer. And
yeah, you have a tendency to bring them from the outside to the inside, and that always works against your bend.
Yeah. And I just didn't know, but we can fix it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I know you can fix it.
Yeah. That was awesome. Thank you so much, and being open to trying this, and we're just been playing with it and having fun. Yeah.
It's Ryan that got me into trouble.
Dressage.
Yeah.
So, but to me, I just want to know that I'm riding proper and I'm helping my horse.
You're absolutely helping your horse.
Yeah.
I love the way how you have approached him. I like the confidence in your horse. Your horse tells a story by itself, how confident he is, how happy he is, how willing he is. Mm-hmm. And that to me is a very important part in the whole scheme.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you again.
You're
it
welcome.
Means a lot. And it's been
it was awesome.
It was fun. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate
You're welcome. Fun.
I am not a dressage rider, nor do I ever want to be a dressage rider. But why I wanted to take the lesson was simple. I wanted to see from a high-level professional a peer in the industry is what we're doing proper. Is what we are doing good for the horse? Is it something that people will look at me from a high-level dressage perspective and say, I can respect what this person is doing because they are doing it the correct way? I never want to ride my horses in a way that isn't proper and isn't correct and good for them. And so this lesson is helping me educate myself so that I can help my horse's body feel better and strengthen in a way that we know, and that's through liberty. So for us, it just proved the point that you can create proper collection when you, completely at bridleless, as long as you have that form of restriction that helps the horse understand how to come up, how to use their hind end, and use their body in the right way. And that's what, to me, what this lesson was about, is to help me understand, number one, are we on the right track? And I think that we are. And number two, that it is possible to get high-level maneuvers and teach your horse high-level things through liberty and liberty alone.